The following program contains incessant calls to battle with the unsavory. If you suffer from squeaky clean-handedness, Randall might not be right for you. Check with your local Pharisee.
Standing for truth in the four corners of America. Fighting for justice on the frontiers of the culture wars. And turning resistance into an art form. Randall Terry.
We're going to take another look today at the ad campaign for Got Insurance and discuss a theological and behavioral set of issues. Private sin, public scandal, and an open war on the laws of God. And I think that there's something that you're going to learn today. Stay with me, okay? Don't go away. You know, the problem is when we look at these ads that we're going to look at today, I actually want to do physical bodily harm to some of these people. I actually do. And I'm trying to think, is there any way ethically that we could get them in a position where we could hurt them?
I'm still recording.
I was just talking about taking them to a Black Friday mosh pit. That's all. Just having some fun, knocking each other around.
It's time now for Down Home with Granny Jihad.
Lotta grappa! Children, come close and listen. I heard Muhammad saying, during the last days there will appear some young foolish people who will say the best words, but their faith will not go beyond their throats. Fake Muslims. And they will go out from their religion like an arrow goes out of the game. So, wherever you find them, kill them. For whoever kills them shall have reward on the day of resurrection. Don't change religion, otherwise Granny kill you.
Welcome to the program, friend. We are broadcasting from Memphis, Tennessee for the indeterminate amount of time that is before us as we have our son treated at St. Jude Children's Research Hospital in his battle against cancer. I ask you to pray for him. Please pray for him, that God spares him, that he lives a normal life, serving God with his life, and that he spends eternity with God. And I thank everyone who has been praying for us. All right, let's talk about health. Let's talk about, do you have insurance? Now, this ad campaign that we focused on yesterday, it bears a lot of scrutiny. There is some good stuff here. Let's look at some of the ones we didn't look at. And by the way, I'm going to make some of my own recommendations as we go on. All right. How about the brochurance? Keg stands are crazy. Not having health insurance is crazier. If you want to be reckless, do a keg stand, suck down a cold one while you're balancing on that keg and your buddies are there. They're probably a little wobbly too. That's crazy. But you've even got to be crazier to not have ObamaCare, because if you fall and knock your teeth out, at least you're going to be covered with ObamaCare, which is the message of the kegger. Okay? I want to see the kegger again. Not sure how I ended up here, perched on top of this keg. I could totally fall, but that's okay, because I've got kegger ER insurance with ObamaCare. And my keg is empty. Give me another one, please. Make this one colder. How do I go to the bathroom when I'm up here anyway? Where's that other one about getting your teeth knocked out? How about Club Med? And that one, the Club Med one is a little on the racist side. Club Med. Yo, Mom, do I got insurance? My girlfriend broke my heart, so me and the bros went golfing. And the guy is about to knock his eye out, knock his tooth out. That's a rough one. And then you've got, where's the one about the teeth being knocked out? I don't see that one anywhere. All right, anyway. But yesterday I started talking about the girls. And I have to come back there again. I just do. And I'm going to say some things in this segment, and I don't want people to be offended, but I want to differentiate for you between private sin, public scandal, and open war on the laws of God. And three of them can be connected, but there are some real differences. So let's go to the, hey girl, look at her, huh? Look at that look on her face. You're excited about easy access to birth control, and I'm excited that you're easy. I mean, that I'm excited about getting to know you. Getting to know you, getting to know all about you. Do you have free birth control? That's something critical right now. This girl and the guy who's in the picture, these are human beings made in the image of God. And what they're promoting, clearly, is sexual immorality. Fornication is the biblical word. The mortal sin in the Orthodox Catholic world, the mortal sin that could land somebody in a very unpleasant place for all eternity. What we have here is an illustration where all three of those streams that I discussed meet. You've got personal sin, all right, private sin, but then you have an attempt, or rather, clearly, public scandal. All right, if this was your son or your daughter, would you want them in a commercial that was promoting sexual immorality, that was sending this kind of a message to young people? And then, perhaps more damning for the Obama administration and the souls of Obama and the other people around him, his wicked henchmen, is that what they're attempting to do is alter the public acceptability of good and evil. In other words, what they're doing isn't wrong. What would be wrong is to do it without birth control. You understand? So sexual immorality is no longer even immoral. Two consenting adults, it's not a problem. All we need to do is make sure that she's using birth control so that he can be the predator. They can both have the pleasure of sin for a season, and everyone's okay with this. Hey, this is the 21st century. Those morals from yesteryear, that stuff in the Bible, that's not for today. I got to take a break. When we come back, I want to go to the other ad and make a couple points about private sin, public scandal, and changing the laws of God. Don't go away. Do you want to have knowledge, wisdom, discernment? If so, you have to read good books, theology, history, books that look at the lives of great men and women. So to help you to become a more effective Christian, a better witness for truth, somebody who can engage in productive conversation that exhorts and edifies those that you speak with, we're going to do something crazy. We're offering you these 7 books for a gift of any size. You just pay for the shipping and handling, and then give whatever gift that you can, and we will send them to you. But just to make it a little bit more crazy, I will send you a second copy of my 3 books, autographed. You can give them as a gift to your pastor or to a family member and help extend truth and justice in the world. This is while supplies last. There are some sad events, horrific events recorded in sacred scripture, okay? The order of Herod to kill all of the babies in Bethlehem is clearly one of the most demonic things that ever happened on the face of the earth. Maybe the most. God knows. The Chronicles of Heaven will show it. But certainly one of the top 10 evil things recorded in the scriptures, is the day that King Solomon offered one of his children as a burnt offering. King Solomon participated in human sacrifice. Did you know that? It's there in the scriptures. Now, Jesus referred to Solomon as being wise. King Solomon wrote many of the Proverbs in the Bible. It is argued, both biblically and theologically, that Solomon was the wisest man who ever lived, except for Christ. And yet, his wisdom departed him, and he participated in human sacrifice. God chastened him, and he is still considered, I mean, obviously he's in the lineage of Christ, but he's also actually in the Easter liturgy there's a prayer to King David to Saint David and Saint Solomon. So clearly he had redemption in his life. The problem is this, and I want to come back around to private sin, public scandal, and rewriting the laws of God or open war on the laws of God. Think of a private sin that you enjoy. All of us have sins that we struggle with, okay? Some people's sin of choice is this, some people's sin of choice is that. Some people could put a pile of cocaine on the table and they're not going to be tempted. There's no temptation there for them. It's not their sin of choice. For others, they would come unhinged. So all of us have the sin that we gravitate to or that tempts us, truly tempts us. So someone falls, and what do they say? Lord, forgive me. Please, Jesus, forgive me. I've sinned. Please cleanse me. You resume the fight against evil, resume the desire to stay on the straight and narrow. Right? That's one. Two is public scandal. Two is, number one is a guy goes to a brothel, okay? No one finds out, but he's filled with remorse. It's horrible. It's a hideous, heinous sin, and he asks God to forgive him and he stops. The next is, public scandal is, he owns the brothel. And he knows that it's wrong. And he's just trapped in this horrible world. And he doesn't say it's right, but he goes to church. And it becomes known in the church community that he's the owner of the brothel. Public scandal. The church is scandalized. At that point, he says, I know that this is wrong, but I just can't get out of it. And I believe that God will forgive me, and I believe God understands, but I've got to provide for my family. And I'm not ready to close it. All right, now there's a public scandal. He has to, according to Matthew chapter 18, he has to be separated from the community. He has to be denied communion, excommunicated, he's denied communion because of the public scandal. The third would be, is if he's involved in the industry, private sin, there's the public scandal attached to it, and he's saying, it's not wrong. This is not a sin. It's legal. I own my brothel in the state of Nevada. We are completely licensed by the state. The girls that work here all have regular physical checkups. They're being paid more than minimum wage, and they get tips from our clients. This is the 21st century. There is nothing wrong with this. This is the way God made the world. That's why people say that prostitution is the oldest profession. All right? Now we've got somebody who's making war on the laws of God. That's the problem. Now, I have to take a break, don't I? All right, I'm going to take a break. When I come back, I'm going to focus on another one of these ads, God insurance ads, and bring it home to us when it comes to public policy and how our money is stolen and spent. My wife and I, for 5 years, have been grinding our own wheat and baking our own bread from scratch. Within 2 hours, you can have fresh wheat in your hand and then piping hot bread come out of the oven. The most nutritious and delicious bread you will ever have. And we do it for under $1 a loaf. Call Paulas Bread and find out about this grain mill and the mixer and how it can save you money and change your life. Welcome back to the program, friend. All right, let's take a look at this ad. Let's get physical. Now, this particular ad incorporates all three elements that I was discussing with you. You've got private sin. Let's get physical. OMG, he's hot. Let's hope he's as easy to get as this birth control. Now, clearly, she's talking about, she's the predator now. She's the sexual siren. And she's the Delilah. And she's saying, wow, check it out. Obamacare pays for my birth control, and now I can have sex with this guy. All right, so there's your private sin. But it automatically, by virtue of the ad, has gone into public scandal. I mean, where do these two go to church? Do they go to church anywhere? If they were going to one of the wonderful mega churches in our country that are really hip and really cool, or a Catholic cathedral in one of our major cities, and they were recognized, then what? What about the youth group? What about the kids in the church? I mean, is this the message that you want to send to them? So now we've got public scandal. But worse yet is the implication here, OMG, actually bringing the maker of heaven and earth into it, is that this is okay. This is good behavior. We're going to fund this behavior. We're going to take money from you, the taxpayer, so that these two can fornicate and hopefully not get pregnant. But if they do get pregnant, don't worry. That same insurance plan has mandated monies to kill the baby. All right? So now we're into, at least some of their insurance policies do, right? So now we're private sin, public scandal, open war with the laws of God. That's the problem we're facing. The so-called gay rights movement, here's the problem. Homosexual sin, to again focus on these three elements. Homosexual sin is a sin, all right? It's a sin. It's a self-destructive behavior that will destroy body and soul, okay? It's a sin. But if someone stumbles into this sin, knows it's a sin, oh my God, forgive me, this is horrible, please Jesus, save me, I hate these feelings, etc. They're struggling with sin. That's one thing. But if it becomes known to the community and they're not repentant, all right, they're not repentant. David's sin with Bathsheba and then putting Uriah to death with the sword of the Hittites, the sin became known and it caused scandal. But David repented. Psalm 51 is the fruit of that repentance, okay? David acknowledged his sin before the Lord, and people saw, the people around him, word got out that he repented, he'd gone to the temple, he'd done what he needed to do to get things right with God. The prophet came and prophesied to him that his sins would be forgiven, etc. So public scandal, but then restoration. What David did not do, but what the homosexual marriage movement wants to do, and the homosexual so-called gay rights movement wants to do, is to say this isn't sin. Not only is it not sin, we want it to be accepted as normal. Not only do we want to accept it as normal, but we want to knock down all of the laws of God and the laws of men that would restrict this behavior. And we want you to put this sexually deviant act on par with marriage itself. So now we're at open war with the laws of God. Open war with how God defined and created marriage. Open war with the sexual norms that God created from the beginning of time. Demanding that we alter the definition of right and wrong, good and evil, healthy and unhealthy, that which is sacred and precious, and that which is wicked and perverse. They want to alter the definitions in open war with the laws of God. And here is where the Christian community is stumbling badly. And I've got to take a break. When we come back, I'm going to bring this around to you and to me. How do we deal with this? Don't go away. All Do you want to get America out of the hands of wicked and unjust men and women who are destroying the republic before our eyes, and put leadership back into the hands of righteous men and women so that we don't die as a nation? Well, you're talking about social revolution, and there are rules in social revolution. We can look at the victorious social revolutions of the past, such as the end of slavery, the end of child labor, women's voting rights, the end of segregation, and so much more, and learn from their victories. Look at their actions, their images, their rhetoric, their sacrifices, and their final fruit. We will send you this series that originally cost $129, 7 books for students, 1 teacher's guide, if you'll give a gift of any size and just pay for shipping and handling. Take advantage of it today. Welcome back to the program. All right, I'm going to bring this all the way back around to where it's very real for all of us. You have a son. He has announced he's a homosexual. What do you do? Remember, private sin, public scandal, open war with the laws of God. You have a daughter that says, I'm going to move in with my boyfriend. What do? Private sin, public scandal, open war with the laws of God. You have a neighbor or a sibling, an adult sibling, who says that they are going to go get food stamps and they are going to get ObamaCare and they're going to sign up for every conceivable place that they can take their neighbor's money to spend it for themselves. What do you do? Or if you are the one who's in the sin, right? Let's bring it even tighter. There's 2 issues here. How I deal with it for me and how I deal with it with someone who's close to me, somebody who I love. If it's me, I sin. God, please forgive me. Jesus, I'm sorry. Beat my breast. I have sinned. I have greatly sinned through my fault. It's my fault, through my most grievous fault, in my thoughts and in my words, in what I have done and what I have failed to do. I'm guilty. But I don't set out to bring public scandal, right? I don't set out to bring public scandal, either through telling everyone what I've done or through any number of means, or I don't try and bring it out for someone else. If I find out someone else has sinned, I don't go tell it to the church. I don't whisper. I don't involve myself in the scandalizing of someone's character, rumor mongering, spreading tales, all these things that the Bible clearly forbids, okay? And then there's the issue of, for me, well, no, it's really not a sin. This isn't a sin. I know that the Bible seems to say that it's a sin, but it's not a sin. And I actually try and crush my own conscience so that I no longer feel guilty or feel conviction over doing the sin. That's not what I do. I say, God, forgive me, and I don't try and rewrite the laws of God. The same thing applies if a child comes to us and they are entrenched in some dangerous sin that could jeopardize their soul for all eternity, could scandalize the faithful, and ultimately would be at open war with the laws of God. And I know what I'm talking about here, people, because God rest his soul, my dear adopted son, he was molested as a child before we got him, and then it was a long, horrific story. But he came out and said, Dad, I'm gay. I said, I love you. I will pray for you, but this is a dangerous sin. It will destroy you. And I could never, so then I never could justify his private sin. I never said to him, I love you and I just want you to be happy. Because his soul was at stake. Then he went into becoming a public advocate for the lifestyle. So then it was public scandal. But then he went to open war with the laws of God. This isn't wrong. It's not evil. Our duty at that point is to be faithful to God and to hold the line on all 3 points. For their sake, for our sake, for the sake of the greater community. God bless you.